And when the 12 apostles were called together, Jesus gave to them virtue and power on all devils, and that they should heal sicknesses. And he sent them to preach the kingdom of God and to heal sick men. And he said to them, Nothing take ye in the way, neither a staff, nor scrip, neither bread, nor money, and neither have ye 2 coats. And whoever receive not you, go ye out of that city. And whoever receive not you, go ye out of the city, and shake ye off the powder of your feet into witnessing on them. And they went forth and went about by castles, preaching and healing everywhere. And Herod, Tetrarch, heard all things that were done of him, and he doubted, for that it was said of some men that John was risen from death, and of some men that Elijah had appeared, but of others that one of the old prophets was risen. And Herod said, I have beheaded John, and who is this, of whom I hear such things? And he sought to see him. And the apostles turned again, and told to him all things that they had done. And he took them, and went beside into a desert place, that is Bethsaida. And when the people knew this, they followed him, and he received them, and spake to them of the kingdom of God. And he healed them that had need of cure. And the day began to bow down, and the 12 came and said to him, Leave the people, that they go and turn into the castles and towns that be about, that they find meat, for we be here in a desert place. And he said to them, Give ye them to eat. And they said, There be not to us more than 5 fishes. There be not to us more than 5 loaves and 2 fishes. But peradventure that we go, and buy meats to all this people? And the men were almost 5,000. And he said to his disciples, Make ye them to sit to meat by companies of 50 together. And they did so, and they made all men to sit to meat. And when he had taken the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, he beheld into heaven, and blessed them, and brake, and dealed to his disciples, that they should set forth before the companies. And all men ate, and were fulfilled. And that left of them of broken meats was taken up, 12 coffins. And it was done, when he was alone praying. His disciples were with him, and he asked them, and said, Whom say the people that I am? And they answered and said, John Baptist. Others say Elijah, and others say one prophet of the former is risen. And he said to them, But whom say ye that I am? Simon Peter answered and said, The Christ of God. And he, blaming them, commanded that they should say to no man, and said these things, For it behooveth man's son to suffer many things, and to be reproved of the elder men, and of the princes of priests, and of the scribes, and to be slain, and the 3rd day to rise again. And he said to all, If any man will come after me, deny he himself, and take his cross every day, and pursue he me. For he that will make his life safe shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for me shall make it safe. And what profiteth a man, if he win all the world, and lose himself, and do impairing of himself? For whoso shameth me and my words, man's son shall shame him, when he cometh in his majesty, and of the fathers, and of the holy angels. And I say to you, verily there be some standing here, which shall not taste death, till they see the realm of God. And it was done after these words almost 8 days. And he took Peter and James and John, and he ascended into an hill to pray. And while he prayed, the likeness of his face was changed, and his clothing was white shining. And lo, 2 men spake with him, and Moses and Elijah were seen in majesty, and they said his going out which he should fulfill in Jerusalem. And Peter and they that were with him were heavy of sleep. And they waking saw his majesty, and the 2 men that stood with him. And it was done, when they departed from him, Peter said to Jesus, Commander, it is good that we be here, and make we here 3 tabernacles, one to thee, and one to Moses, and one to Elijah. And he knew not what he should say. But while he spake these things, a cloud was made, and overshadowed them, and they dreaded, when they entered into the cloud. And a voice was made out of the cloud, and said, This is my dear worthy Son, hear ye him. And while the voice was made, Jesus was found alone, and they were still. And to no man said in those days any of those things, that they had seen. But it was done in the day pursuing. When they came down of the hill, much people met them. And lo, a man of the company cried and said, Master, I beseech thee, behold my son, for I have no more. And lo, a spirit taketh him, and suddenly he crieth, and hurtleth down, and draweth him with foam, and scarcely he goeth away, drawing him all to pieces. And I prayed thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they might not. And Jesus answered and said to them, unfaithful generation and wayward, how long shall I be with you, and suffer you? Bring hither thy son. And when he came nigh, the devil hurtled him down, and wrenched him. And Jesus blamed the unclean spirit, and healed the child, and yielded to him his father. And all men wondered greatly in the greatness of God. And when all men wondered in all things that he did, he said to his disciples, Put ye these words in your hearts, for it is to come that man's son be betrayed into hands of men. And they knew not this word, and it was hid before them, that they feared it not. And they dreaded to ask him of this word. But a thought entered into them, who of them should be greatest? And Jesus, seeing the thoughts of the heart of them, took a child and set him beside him, and said to them, Whoever receiveth this child in my name receiveth me, and whoever receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. For he that is least among you all is the greatest. And John answered and said, Commander, we saw a man casting out fiends in thy name, and we have forbidden him, for he pursueth not thee with us. Jesus said to him, Do not ye forbid, for he that is not against us is for us. And it was done, when the days of his taking up were fulfilled, he set fast his face to go to Jerusalem, and sent messengers before his sight. And they went and entered into a city of Samaritans to make ready to him. And they received not him, for the face of him was going into Jerusalem. When James and John his disciples saw, they said, Lord, wilt thou that we say that fire come down from heaven and waste them? And he turned and blamed them and said, Ye know not whose spirits ye be. For man's son came not to lose men's souls, but to save. And they went into another castle. And it was done, when they walked in the way, a man said to him, I shall pursue thee, whithersoever thou go. And Jesus said to him, Foxes have dens, and birds of the air have nests, but man's son hath not where he shall rest his head. And he said to another, Pursue thou me. And he said, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. And Jesus said to him, Suffer that dead men bury their dead men, but go thou and tell the kingdom of God. And another said, Lord, I shall pursue thee, but first suffer me to leave all things that be at home. And Jesus said to him, No man that putteth his hand to the plow, and be holding backward, is able to the kingdom of God.